Let me go across to Shoko Noda now. My first question to you is with regards to the G20 summit, which is just months away, and India hopes that climate agenda can be pushed during the summit. Do you see the West fulfilling the climate finance promises?
Right. So G20 countries account for 85% of the global GDP, and their collective economic might is the key lever for driving climate action and, as you rightly said, finance. And I'm also pleased to say that India is the only 2-degree compatible country in the G20 that is projected to meet its climate goals. So India's leadership is critical, and India is also speaking up, not only within the G20 members, but also they are in a position to actively bringing the voice of the global south to the front and championing the cause of developing economies that really require finance and technology transfer as well. And it has to be clear that disruptive innovation for climate action is one of the priorities for G20 presidency. And we are expecting to see a very strong communique coming out of the G20 summit that has substantial reference to climate change, climate finance.
Well, absolutely. And even as we speak, Shoko Noda, there's a meeting that is currently on in Germany that will lay the groundwork for COP28 later this year. How serious is the fact, and will this be up for discussion, that despite all the targets that have been set by the world, it is still going to breach that 1.5 degrees Celsius global warming target? What urgent action is required in that context?
So the meeting in Bonn is a very, very first time the countries are meeting after the COP27 last year, where a loss and damage fund was announced. And this fund is critical. It will compensate the developing countries for the damage that they are facing presently because of the climate change, and that is due to the historical emissions by developed nations. So the outcome of the meeting is critical. It's very important to ensure that the fund becomes very operational as quickly as possible. And also at the current rate of decarbonization, we may not be able to limit the global warming below 1.5 degrees. So to resolve this, developing countries really urgently need climate finance to move away from fossil fuels and then have latest technology and also meet the development needs at the same time. So technical meetings such as the current one in Germany is where the experts and scientists sit together and to iron out the details of how this international financing mechanism will work. So we'll have time to meet and keep the global warming below 1.5 degrees if we are able to mobilize actually the finance and also make sure that the technology transfer happens.
Shoko Noda, at the moment there's also a move, and since we're talking about COP28, a move to remove the current president of COP28, Sultan Al Jaber. How important is messaging in the whole climate change agenda? And by having him as president, has there been a failure in sending out the right message?
You know, the climate change, or we should start really calling it climate crisis, is not one country or a certain country's agenda. It is a global agenda. So it's really important to address this crisis through collaborative efforts and diverse perspectives. And also all nations, all countries, all stakeholders across the spectrum really need to be engaged in this addressing climate changes. So only then we can make significant contribution to the global climate action agenda.
So final question I want to ask you is with regards to the theme of Environment Day this time, that is with regards to plastic pollution. Has enough been done to eliminate it so far?
Well, definitely more can be done, because just so that I want to highlight, by 2050, there may be more plastics in the ocean than fish. And that is just not acceptable. Every day, according to one report, about 2,000 the garbage trucks full of plastics are dumping plastics into the oceans, into the rivers, into the lakes globally. And every year we produce like 400 millions of tons of plastics. And how much is being recycled? I'm sure that we can do much more. And for that, I have to say that the LIFE initiative that Honorable Prime Minister has initiated, and now the government of India is taking forward, is extremely important, because we are the end consumers of those products and services, and we also need to change our behavior.
Shoko Noda, many thanks for speaking with NDTV on this very critical aspect of climate change on World Environment Day.